Hey guys, it's Casey and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to yet another beautiful, miraculous, weird day in my life. It's been a red hot minute since I filmed one of these, but because today is Friday and it looks like I'm finally going to have a little bit of free time to film, I figure why not? Because I never have the time to film vlogs. I work 60 to 80 hours a week in a good week. I genuinely lack the time to do most other things in life, and so the fact that I get one video out a week as it is miracle enough. And Fridays are really the only day that I have in life to do anything that needs doing, because the rest of the week, regardless of whether I'm scheduled on or off at work, there's still a 50% chance that I'm going to get called in to do something, so I can't stray very far from the hospital. Fridays are the one day a week in which Dr. Kingsley comes in and covers all the shifts. And Dr. Kingsley is the only doctor that I have ever met in the entirety of the modern West, including those who trained me, and I'm using that in the most loosest sense of the word, because they didn't so much as train me as they just supervised me and tested my skills, but whatever. He's the only doctor in the modern West that I have ever met that I would consider my peer in any way, shape, or form. He is an incredible doctor, and I love that he covers our shifts because he's from Rwanda and he was practicing there during the Civil War. And so he is used to dealing with hard and odd situations. He knows all the things that I know, like he knows how to rip up gauze to make bandages when we run out. He doesn't panic when something weird happens or one of the nurses goes to take the trash out and doesn't come back. He just rejigs the roster and keeps on going. He keeps the train rolling out of the station. He doesn't need me to swoop in and save the day, which I appreciate because it's really the only way that I ever get a day off. But today is not going to be a super relaxing day because I am heading into the big town because at some point this week, I think it was on Wednesday, Dr. Roch, who is in charge of me at least as far as science and research goes, he called me up and asked if I wouldn't mind going to the big town to meet one of his peers today. And because I refused to go to the Melbourne event when was it? I think it was in November. I refused outright to go to it. I figured, why not? Give it a shot. We can see what they have to say. If it prevents me from having to go to Melbourne in another 2 months' time, I have no complaints about that. Plus, they promised me that if I went, that they would pay me $200. And so it's very easy to twist my arm towards compliance when you're offering to pay me big money for about half an hour's work. So sure, let's go. So why not make an entire day of it? We can go speak to the stupid psychiatrist and then we can go get some lunch and do some shopping because I do need to pick up a few things. So it's basically two birds with one stone while scoring myself a sweet 200 tax-free mullah. So why wouldn't I do it? But first things first, I need to go gather up all my washing in this house and put it in a bag and take it to the hospital because I don't own a washing machine, and so I do all my washing there. So even though it's my one day off, I still find myself in need of going into work. How exciting.
A few moments later.
Okay, it is now 8 hours after the last video that I filmed, and I am back in my house, having finished my appointment, which, in all honesty, might be the strangest appointment that I have ever been to in my entire life, which is really saying something if you consider the fact that I spent the better part of 3 years going to almost daily appointments. So I have a lot of appointment experience. I mean, even to begin with, it's a 3-hour drive to the town that I had to go to, which I know for a lot of people sounds excessive, but once you've done it 100 times, it kind of stops registering in your mind as a long drive, and it just becomes something that you do, because I do that drive all the time whenever I need something beyond milk and bread and white rice in a bag. So for me, it's just a normal part of my daily life making that drive. Honestly, I probably would have done the drive today regardless of whether I had to go there or not. So it didn't feel excessive in any way, shape or form. I wanted to do something today, and to do something, I needed to make the drive. So there you go. I would have done it. That's not what this is about. So I make the drive. I have been told to go to a specific consulting room in the library, because that's where we always meet whenever they come to me, the very, very rare occasion that they come to me and don't force me to take 3 days off of work in order to go to them. So I go to the library, I go to the room that I'm supposed to meet them at. which is all good. Like I said, no problems there. It's completely normal. This is something that is routine whenever we have one of these meetings. So I go in, I sit down, I pull out my book, and I wait, and I wait, and I wait a little more. No one shows up. No one knocks on the door. Nobody puts their head in to see if we're using the consultation room. No, I'm just sitting in there reading my book like an idiot. People are probably walking past because they got the little windows in the door, and they're probably walking past, seeing me read and thinking, why are you reading in there, you big douchebag? Like, there are perfectly comfortable couches out there and people could be using that space for alternative methods. But no, I waited and I waited and I waited. And I'm sitting there thinking, should I leave? Is someone coming? Are they not coming? Has this entire event been cancelled? Like, what is the deal here? What is going on? Because if it's been cancelled, that is completely and totally fine by me. In fact, it is probably preferable by me that it got cancelled because I'm not exactly desperate to be wasting my one day off a week sitting in this room talking to people about things that I don't particularly care about. But if it got cancelled, at least send me a text, right? Like, at least give me the common courtesy of telling me that it's got cancelled. But apparently, common courtesy these days is optional. So I had no idea what was going on. 40 minutes come and go, and I am still sitting in the consultation room reading my book like the idiot that I am. And to make it even worse, I am reading the prequel to the Wicked series, the book series, not the musical. And I don't know why I'm reading, like I'm still reading it now. Obviously it was today. But I don't know why I'm reading the prequel to the Wicked series because I did not enjoy Wicked, the book, like at all. So I'm not sure why I convinced myself that, push through and read the prequel. You might find something of worth in there. I'm not finding anything of worth in there. It is not for me. The point is, at this point in time, I feel like I am justified in leaving because I have been sitting there for over 40 minutes. It is hot as balls outside. It's like 43 degrees today. And I have places to be. I have people to see. I have food to eat, baby. I need to get out of there. So I stand up and begin packing up my bag, putting all my book away so that I can get out of Dodge. And just as I'm doing that, a woman walks in to the consultation room. Never seen this woman before in my life, not once. She is maybe middle-aged and she is volleyball tall and she looks like she's just flown in from a New Year's Eve yacht party and St. Bart's, if you catch my drift. And she's wearing like a fluorescent white power suit, like a full-on H. Clinton suit. I can't say the word Hilary very well. If your name is Hilary, change your name. It is really unwelcoming to non-native English speakers. This is a terrible name. But like I said, she's wearing a white power suit, like fluorescent white. I don't know if white can be fluorescent, but it was like sun strapped to her body levels of white, which is not great where I live, to be honest. Like, people always ask me, why do I dress like a homeless person? Well, I dress like a homeless person because where I live, it is dusty as hell. It is red dirt flying everywhere all the time. And it is hot as balls. And when there is not dirt flying everywhere all the time, there are bugs flying everywhere all the time. And so white, where I live, not the smartest idea. She walks into the consultation room, does not acknowledge my existence. And it's very, very awkward for a good 2 minutes. Because she's standing with her back to me and she's looking at the painting on the wall. And she's just not acknowledging my existence in any way, shape or form. So I'm like, okay, clearly this woman is in the wrong room. So I'm trying to decide what to do with that information. Should I tell her that this consultation room is booked at the moment? Should I not tell her because I'm planning to get up and leave anyway, so it doesn't make a difference? Should I say anything to her? Should I not say anything to her? Should I just sit here and grey rock and continue reading my book till she gets the message that this room is not available right now? I don't know. So in the end, I'm just like, what do I care? Like, let her have the room. I'm not using the room. It's none of my business. Whatever. I'm leaving. I'm getting up and I'm going. So I put my book in my bag and I'm about to stand up when she finally turns to me and she struts on over and she's got that walk down pat that like supermodels and career politicians have. And I'm in my chair. There's a table, right? It's one of those like big conference rooms with the table. I'm on one side and she's standing beside me and she holds out her arm, like not to shake my hand. It's like she's going to like execute me with a finger gun or something like that. And she says, "Good morning, Miss Escamilla. My name is Dr. Well, we'll just call it Dr. X for simplicity's sake. And she's clearly American. So she goes and she sits across the table from me. And she starts a little doctor monologue, like, I'm so glad to finally meet you. I've been following the particulars of your case for a while now. I feel like I already know you. Do you mind if I call you Casey? Blah, 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 blah. And as she's saying all this, the door to the consultation room is still wide open. And I point this out to her. I'm like, are we seriously going to conduct this meeting with the door at the public library wide open, with said public walking past said door every 30-ish seconds or so? And this woman, she looks at me, then she looks at the open door, and then she looks me back in the eyes and she says, are you afraid that someone is going to overhear what you're saying and take it out of context? Or are you just afraid? Are you concerned that someone is trying to spy on you right now? And I'm like, no, I don't think that someone's going to overhear and take anything out of context or that someone is spying on me. I just think as a fellow medical professional, it's very strange and more than a little bit unprofessional to conduct a private psychiatric evaluation in a public place with the door wide open. She asked me, would you feel more comfortable if we closed the door? And I was like, yes. Yes, I would feel more comfortable. Thank you very much. Do you think that this woman got up and closed the door? No, she did not get up and close the door. She just went, that's interesting, and started scribbling on her notepad. And when I say scribbling, I do mean literal scribbling like she was a toddler. So in the end, I had to be the one to get up, walk around the table and close the door because she wasn't going to do it. She was more than happy to let everyone in the entire town hear what we were saying. And I thought that was already weird. So that started us off on a bad foot as is. So the door is now closed and we sit down across from one another at the table and we start doing the psychology thing, the back and forth. And her way of wording things during this initial exchange just seemed very strange to me. It came across as very, very weird. There was a lot of, oh, wow, it's my understanding that you believe this, and it's my understanding that you think that. And I read this specific study, and it said things went one way, and you're saying that things went another way. So I want to understand your take on this because it's different from the takes that I've read, and I want to understand how your brain works and comes to this conclusion. And it just came across as very, like the wording was very condescending and insinuating of certain things. And I really, really didn't appreciate it because to me, it just felt like she was trying to gaslight me. I've said it before and I will say it again 1,000,000 times. I'm absolutely certain of this, okay? I wish that I was in psychosis. I wish that I was because my life would be so much simpler and easier if everything could just be tied up in a neat little psychotic delusional bow, all right? If all it took for me to end this living nightmare was just some medicating and an inpatient stay somewhere and then I would come out of it and be completely happy with my life, I would be over the moon. I would be thrilled beyond words, but that is just not the case here. And I know this for a fact because my lived daily external reality reflects this every day. Dr. X's presence in that room with me, in that consultation room with me, reflected that loud and clear. And so I asked her, I'm like, what university are you tenured at? Because they're all tenured somewhere. All these doctors that come and talk to me, they're all tenured somewhere. They're all tenured at some world-class university or some prestigious teaching hospital. So I'm like, tell me which university you were tenured at. And I am not continuing this interview until you tell me that. Tell me. Which university are you tenured at? We go back and forth on this for a few minutes and she's all like, well, I'm not at liberty to say, we're here to discuss you, we're not here to discuss me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm not budging. I am not moving away. I'm not answering any more questions until you answer this one question. So after a bit, she relents and she tells me which university she teaches at. And of course, it's a top 10 QS rankings university because they all are. And I'm like, thank you. You have just proven my point. Because if my case was just a simple case of delusion, she would not be sitting in that room with me. She would not have traveled from wherever she was in America to the edge of the Australian outback in the heart of summer, the middle of nowhere, wearing a white power suit to have a conversation with me in a public library. Not in a million light years. So do not even begin that gaslighting shit with me. Thank you very much. And this bitch looks at me and says the words, "Are you intimidated by women in medicine?" Am I intimidated by women in medicine? I am literally a woman in medicine who was birthed by a woman in medicine who has taught many a woman in medicine. So I can say with every fiber of my chest that no, I am not intimidated by women in medicine. And I knew from that one simple question, it's not even a simple question, that one stupid, idiotic question, exactly what kind of person I am dealing with right here. The kind of person who has used sexism and misogyny as a get out of jail free card and a ladder to climb on the backs of everyone else her entire career. And I hate women like that because they just drag all of us down. It's the worst kind of person that you could encounter. And so, like I said, we had already started off on the wrong foot. And at this point in time, I knew that I wanted to be over and done with this and far away from this woman as humanly possible. Quick, like, just get me out of that room, please. And she's like, well, maybe we should just talk about something else. I'm like, yeah, maybe we should. And so she starts asking me questions about the clinic. What's the nitty gritty? What's been happening? What's the 401k? And I'm more than happy to answer questions about the clinic to anyone because nothing that happens there is a secret. It's just odd. And so I'm telling her about everything that's been happening lately. And she's just keeps going, that's so interesting. How fascinating. Oh, tell me more about that. I want to learn more about that. And it's just so insincere. And the entire time that we're talking, she just continues scribbling on her notepad. And then somewhere along the way, we somehow diverge and she starts asking me questions about Drest Levesque. Like very personal, borderline intrusive questions about him, not about me. Nothing about me from this point forward, all about him. And that's when it clicks in my head. I'm like, okay, this is what this meeting is about. This is what this meeting has always been about. They want to know where Drest Levesque is, which they could have just emailed me about. I would be more than happy to tell them everything that I know, which is not a lot, okay? Because I don't know where he is. I don't know why anybody thinks that, he gives me his emergency contact details whenever he disappears for as long as he disappears. And I try to explain this all to her, and I'm answering the questions as best as I can. And she is doing everything but creaming herself in that public library. It's really disturbing and was actually really gross. And I'm not really sure what she's expecting me to say here, like what magical answers she's expecting me to give. Because I know next to nothing about Drest Levesque's personal life here. Like he could have an entire secret family and I would be none the wiser. And I don't know why they expect me to have all the answers to his problems. We were friends for like a microsecond of history many, many, many moons ago in a different time and place. We are not friends now. We have not been friends since. And I'm not expecting that we're going to be friends again in the future. So it's not like we're having sleepover parties and he's sharing all his dirty secrets with me. No, that's not happening. I have not seen or heard from Drest Levesque since like the start of November, possibly even October. I don't remember exactly, but somewhere around there. And I'm not expecting to see or hear from him again into the end of March at the earliest, possibly even much later than that. The only clue that I will have that he is back in town is that I will come home from work one day and my entire house will be ransacked. That's it. After that, I still might not hear or see from him for like another month or so. And she goes, well, I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, because there is nothing here to understand. The only thing that you need to comprehend is that Drest Levesque, like everyone else in his race, he cannot tolerate strong sunlight in his eyes. And the sun here during summer is atrocious. And so every year he leaves for a few months. I don't know where he goes during that time. I don't know what he's doing or who he's with. Like, he is not a traveling soldier. He's not sending me love letters home, detailing his adventures so that I can read them and report them to you. I cannot help you. And she's like, you're talking about Drest Levesque. And I was like, yes, that's who I'm talking about. And she's like, Drest Levesque, as in like Drest Levesque. And I'm like, yes, oh my God, he is not Bloody Mary. He's not going to materialize behind you because you say his name 3 times in quick succession. But yes, that is who I'm talking about. I don't know where he is. I don't know when he's coming back, but I'm assuming that he is not in the country right now. And this woman, this medical doctor, psychiatrist, looks at me like she is about to burst into tears. She looks at me like I have just informed her that her grandmother was hit by a bus and is no longer amongst the land of the living. And she puts down, very slowly, she puts down her notepad and she looks at me and she says, I'm so sorry, but I need to step outside and make a quick phone call. Something urgent has just come up. I promise I will only take a few minutes. There is nothing suspicious about that. And so she gets up and she leaves. She's left her notepad on the table and it takes me about all of 3 seconds after she closes the door for me to reach over and grab it and look at it. And as suspected, because I am not an idiot, she has not taken a single note this entire meeting. There is not so much as an exclamation point on the notepad. There is nothing on the notepad except for a really bad drawing of a horse. And it's not even like an alive horse. It's all splayed out on the ground and its legs are up in the air like it's a tripped dog and its entrails have been like all ripped out and they're like going around the page, like the border of the page. It's really, really gross. And so I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, I'm over this. I am not doing this anymore. I'm done. And so when she comes back in, I say to her, I'm like, listen, I'm really sorry, but like, I need to leave. I said that I would give you an hour of my time and it's been an hour and a half. It's not my fault that you showed up almost an hour late. So if it's okay by you, I would really like to get my gift card and go, please and thank you. And she actually ended up giving it to me without much of a fight, which I actually appreciated. It was the one small thing that gave me like a glimmer of respect for her is that she didn't like, oh no, please wait. No, she just gave it to me and I was able to leave the library and go in, immediately waste the $200 Visa gift card that she gave me on stuff that I will never use, half of which I already regret buying. But anyway, I have lost one of my mics. I have lost my other clip mic somehow. I don't know how or where. I'm assuming in one of those bags, but I need to go and find it. And so this is Casey signing off for the night. As always, stay weird out there, stay safe, and have a lovely night. Good night.